Hi and welcome back to another video on my healing journey. When I look back on my life, I realize how much I could have done differently. I could have eaten more healthier. I was a smoker in my younger years and I drank in my younger years. A notoriously bad eater. So there's a whole lot of issues that when it comes to disease in the body, there's no way I can blame just one thing. For example, environment or the poisons in the air or the water. Those all affected as well, but I have to also take personal responsibility. And in doing so, a lot of healing modalities came into my vision or my frame of reference, if you like. Starting with before I was even diagnosed, I was a Reiki master and practitioner and teacher, master practitioner and teacher. And why I say was is that I've let that lapse because once my back broke, I was no longer able to practice properly. I tried doing some healing, but my body was so frail that what was happening was all the energy flowing through me was going to help me rather than to help the person who had come to me for help. So I stopped doing that. And then self-Reiki became an issue when I was diagnosed. And there it was a lot of my mindset, my mental way of looking at things. I would be thinking, I couldn't even heal myself. I couldn't heal my husband when he was sick, so who the hell do I think I am? And a lot of this went backwards and forwards. And it took a long time for me to get to the point where I realized that everything that comes our way is a tool in our healing journey. Sometimes showing us things that we haven't realized before, and sometimes actually being of benefit in that moment to help us. So at the beginning here, I'm just going to quickly go through those that we've already discussed in other videos. I will link the other videos below for easy reference for those who have not watched the whole series from beginning to end, just so that if they want to see more about it and they're interested, you can go directly to those videos. So again, we'll start with the herbalist, which is the first place I went once my diagnosis came about. And as we've said, I couldn't have done without the herbalist who gave me the information about Isiaq tea, who also had far more knowledge at that time than my friend Chris and I had. She taught us a lot before we then went on and learned more from other teachers as well. So we relied a lot on her knowledge and her wisdom, and honestly, I still rely a lot on it today. I will often ask her questions, and she's always got an answer because she's done this for so many years. Then going on to the nutrition, we have spoken about Sally Ann Creed, and changing the way I ate was absolute paramount. As I've said before, a notorious bad eater. I needed to know, and she was able to do the blood test with the the nutritional needs of my body. The blood test itself is quite expensive, but it's worth it to know and to understand exactly where you are and where I was at that time in my health. So again, those videos, the link to that video will be below. Then I've also spoken briefly about the homeopath. And what I would like to say here about the homeopath is that what was wonderful about him is that he always said, I'm your healing partner. So the healing you have to do. And all I'm doing is facilitating and bringing everything together so that you can see what is your next step. And then giving the advice and giving the tablets as well. And there was something I wanted to also add here, which I really enjoyed, was a definition that he actually gave when I first went to him. And it says it's homeopathy is a medical discipline using highly diluted natural substances which stimulate the mind and body's own powers of self-regulation, self-repair, and self-healing. Homeopaths regard physical, emotional, spiritual, and interpersonal health as equally important. So when I went to him, that was everything we discussed. It wasn't just, okay, how's it going? All right, here's some more pills. He truly asked me questions to just see where on my healing journey am I? How can he advise me further? So that was really huge. I'm so sorry he moved away. He's gone down to the Eastern Cape. But I can still email him, which is so wonderful. Now, some of the other modalities. And I'm going to mention people by name because each one of them has played a significant role. And they do still do this work. So the one is Belinda Levin. And she the way I met her was she came to me to learn Reiki, to be able to add to her knowledge of reflexology. She's a reflexologist and she is wonderful. She does the gentle reflexology, which is what most people who are sick need. We can't have people trying to flush our kidneys if our kidneys are a bit fragile. That kind of idea. So she would sit and chat with me and ask a lot of questions as she was giving the reflexology. What I found very beneficial was I could actually feel on my feet. I would say to her, wow, that point is really sore. And then she would tell me, okay, that's part of your kidney meridian. Now, my kidneys definitely did struggle. So she would say, let us just gently loosen that and then just help your kidneys to be able to flow easier. And then crystals in my sinuses, which I've always had sinus problems. So my feet actually told their own story. I will link her details. She's got a place here in Durban North that she practices from. I'll link her in the description below. It really is worth chatting with her and going to her for a session. Inside her healing practice, there's also an aromatherapist who does the actual massage, which is something that I don't offer. So, there's a lot that can be offered at her place of healing. Then I have mentioned briefly the physiotherapist, and I'm only going to mention it briefly again, because for my particular illness, reflex physiotherapy, I would say is short term. It helps with the pain. It helps with that just relieving that pain when it gets excruciating. The physiotherapist is able to do that. And then again, it does depend. There might be, everyone's different. So if your bones are not soft like mine are, you might have more benefit from physio than I was able to get. But I definitely did benefit from physio and from the biokineticist. I just had to learn to maybe just do stretches rather than bone strengthening or muscle strengthening exercises. Reiki, as I said at the beginning, I did stop the Reiki myself, but I have a friend, Sharon Chunilal, who is fantastic. Her husband, Nishan, is a yoga practitioner and teacher, and he learned in India, in Rishikesh, I think it's called. I stand to be corrected. But they are a wonderful couple. And Sharon, I taught her Reiki, and she became a teacher with my guidance, but she's taken it further, much further. And she's added crystal healing to it and other modalities. And so I went to her for a couple of sessions, and what I got from that was going away without that extreme anxiety that I was feeling. It didn't really help with pain, but it did help with that anxiety and just helping to balance out my emotions. It was very helpful. Another friend of mine, Jenny Walls, she offered me some sound therapy. Now, sound therapy was great. And what was wonderful was at that time she was just practicing. She said, come, I'll just practice on you, so it'll be a gift. I was only able to go once, and then lockdown happened, and then my back broke again. I lost my car, which was a huge thing. You know, when you've been independent and you lose your independence, believe me, anyone who's been there will know what I'm talking about. It is a horrible, horrible feeling. And you've got to find different ways of being able to express your independence and your confidence. So I've had to find other ways. And one of the ways is actually these videos. I'm finding doing these videos is so healing for me. And also it's a way for me to reach out and maybe help someone else. That in itself is very healing. So the sound therapy she uses, I think there's 6 or 8 of the tuning forks at different levels. So she would use those around my body, and then she would also use the singing bowls. The experience was extraordinary. Really, I would recommend it. I did find it actually helped with the pain, and I think it was because my mind went totally away from the pain. While the sound therapy was happening, my mind definitely was not on, oh, my spine is sore. Oh, I've got referred pain from my nerve pain. So it definitely did help. I also went away feeling calmer. So I haven't asked her permission to put her details below, but if you want to know more, and I'll ask her in the meantime. And if it can't be her and she doesn't feel comfortable, I'm sure she'll pass me on to someone whose number I could give you. So keep that in mind. The other one was also just a once-off, and it was Belinda, the reflexologist, who gave me this suggestion, and it's called SCIO, SCIO, which stands for Scientific Consciousness Interface Operations System. Very interesting. It's a machine. I think it goes around your head and throat. It was quite a while ago. It was after my first break, and he picked up a heck of a lot, and gave me a lot of suggestions on what I could do to help myself. But because of the price of it, I just wasn't able to carry on and do a second session, and then he moved away as well. But if you do know someone who practices SCIO, it is, it's intriguing. And I would like to have followed that path a little bit more just to see what more came from it. And then there's the best machine, which is bioenergetic synchronization technique. A friend of mine, Jenny, not the same Jenny, another Jenny, she has done the best machine for years. And it really is helpful. It works along the lines of homeopathy, but it uses frequencies, sound frequencies or radio frequencies, to put whatever, I hold a stick and it goes through a machine and then it goes into these little pills, and a fascinating modality, and one that I actually, I would say there is some benefit to it. Again, I wasn't able to keep on because of lockdown and then no car, but it definitely was something that I felt was beneficial, especially after the second time. The first time I didn't feel much, but the second time I could see there were definite changes in my being on all levels. And then counseling therapy was brilliant. I had a number of therapists who helped me. One is a narrative therapist, brilliant, where instead of saying, I am angry, you actually see the anger and say, what is causing the anger? What is it in the situation that's causing the anger? And have a conversation with the anger, walk with the anger, talk with it, see what it's doing to you physiologically, mentally, and emotionally. And I know that's a very, 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 very basic. I can imagine Estelle's turning around in horror, but Estelle, please, you can always write a comment and explain more. to help along. That would be great. And then the other counseling I had, she helped me a lot with boundaries. And that was very interesting because it's my own boundaries. Like, where do I end and others begin? And mainly because I was terrified of being alone, always alone, alone, alone. You know, husband dying, daughters moving, or one lives in Joburg, one's overseas, friend moving away. It was just felt like loss after loss after loss. And so her question to me was, why do you need other people to define you? And so she suggested I buy the Boundaries book, and we were just talking our way through it. You know, I would read and then I would discuss with her what I learned. And her therapy with that, because she kept it without emotion. It was like, no, just focus on the boundaries. Let's just do that. You know, like, keep your focus, keep your pinpoint. And that was so helpful. And it still helps me today, because when I start getting emotional, I say to myself, this is an emotional reaction. It's valid, but if I speak from my emotional reaction, it's not my truth. It's just how I'm feeling at that moment. And I can cause absolute havoc in someone's life if I start saying, you made me feel, and this is not fair. You know, that's an emotion. So get down to the bottom. I feel this because it affected me and reminded me of whatever, you know. And so we go through it. It's I found it very helpful. So therapy of that sort, counseling with I went to one psychologist and two clinical social workers, and each one had something of value to add to my healing journey. So that would be a definite. And then I can't go further without using meditation and prayer as a modality. That's going to sound weird, and it will come up more in my next video when I'm talking more about spirituality. But the practice of daily meditation, daily prayer, finding a time every day to pray, every day to meditate, it brings some stability, some emotional stability, emotional calmness, emotional and mental balance back into alignment. And in the world we live in, it's crazy. You know, there's load shedding, and there's, oh golly, what else are we dealing with? Flooding and money problems and job opportunities, which are so few and far between. Everyone is struggling, and everyone is dealing with huge emotional stuff that very often we don't know what to do with it. And it doesn't matter if you are religious or not, prayer and meditation in the whatever form is best for you. There's, you know, no one's here to say we have to do it a certain way. I would never ever do that. Doesn't matter what my belief system is. Your belief system is what counts in your world and in your healing journey. And these are going to sound strange, but for me, there are modalities, and that's the oncologist, because what he has done is help just bring a little bit of structure. I cannot be an ostrich and bury my head and say, I don't want to know what my bloods say, because if I know what my bloods say, my head's going to go crazy. Yes, it is going to go crazy. But if I don't know what my bloods say, then I'm also deluding myself, right? If I know what my bloods say, I say to myself, and I say to my friend who's helping me every step of the way, we do a lot of discussions together. And so we will talk about, okay, so my inflammation markers are up higher than normal. What have I been doing differently? Have I been drinking more coffee, for example? Have I been eating more protein than I should be eating, which is an acid food? And you know, am I eating enough of the alkaline foods? And so on and so forth. How's my emotional state? Where am I mentally? And so I find it extremely helpful, and I like to know what's happening and where I am. Doing the bone strengthening, is vital for me, and also the radiotherapy. I see it as a modality because it was a short amount of time, it was for a certain reason, and that was it. So it was something I used, a tool that I used on my healing journey. So therefore, that's why I've included it as a modality. The CBD and THC, I wouldn't quite call it a modality, rather something that did help. And then this year, was it this year or the end of last year? End of last year. My business partner, Nofundo Zama, she is an intuitive healer and self-initiate. And she did a beautiful session with me. It was an energetic session, even though I was lying. She used a lot of movement over my body, shifting and spreading the energy and taking it away, just using her intuition of where there were stuck energy, lumps of energy, whatever. By the end of it, I felt great. But the sole of my right foot, it felt like I had a tennis ball in there. It was so painful to stand on it. Eventually, I said to her, listen, I've got to actually go and lie down. I can't even stand on my foot. And she said, oh, that's because it's a ball of energy that now it's all come to one place and it isn't being released. It's kind of like pent up. So she came and did, I keep forgetting the words. She's going to laugh at me. Oh, golly. It's always such an easy word. It's an energy explosion. And she warned me. She said it's going to be painful. And so she did. She pushed on my foot and she kind of maneuvered herself and then pushed right back and then released. And you cannot believe that feeling. It was like as if something had just like burst open. But it was a beautiful feeling. It was like, what a relief. And then I lay for about 10 more minutes and then got up. There was no pain. So that was something really interesting. So I'm definitely going to be asking her for some more of these intuitive healing sessions because I found it extremely helpful. Because, we're building up emotional energy, negative energy, work energy, everything that kind of like just gets laid on us. And very often we forget to unpack it at the end of the day. Now you will notice I haven't put journaling as a modality, and that's because I'm very bad with journaling. I wish I was better. But sometimes I get afraid to write down my thoughts in case, what if I die and someone reads them? So it gets a bit weird. So what I started doing is Zen dollars, and I'll be speaking more about those next time. But it's a form of journaling, but in picture form, which is most helpful. And it was actually my art teacher who showed me. And that's actually another modality I didn't even think about. Dina Cormack, an amazing artist. Honestly, if you don't know who Dina Cormack is, Google her, see her art. She's an incredible feminist artist. One of her beautiful statues has actually been in Botanic Gardens. It's now actually deteriorating, and it's actually beautiful the way it's deteriorating because it's like, this is nature. Things are born and things die, and that is part of the life cycle. But she did some sketching, and sketching is just amazing. I love it. I'm not very good at it, but I enjoy it. It's such an outlet. And water painting. And she's the one who said, do a journal of zendalas, mandalas, whatever you feel comfortable doing. You have a dream and you don't know how to write the dream down, or you've forgotten part of it. What are your feelings associated with the dream? Draw them, paint them, even if it's just colors to remind you what you felt in that dream or at that time. So there are so many modalities, and you'll see here behind, there's also the quantum touch, which is something that Chris taught me, and she did on me. And the quantum touch is amazing because it's almost like Reiki, but again, there's more breath work involved in it, but also absolutely fantastic. And these two art pieces here, those are Dina Cormick's work. Just so that you can see a little bit of, she's a painter, she's a sculptor, she's a potter, she's just incredible. So in conclusion, I just want to say the past 6 years have been a journey, and the journey continues, and I'll be on it for the rest of my life, whether that is 5 years, whether that's 20 years, who knows, you know. But my real takeaways of this part of my life are self-compassion and being conscious and in the moment. You know, it's always like the what ifs, or if only something had not happened, or what if this happens. And all of these modalities and all of this journey, it's just saying stay in this moment. That's all you have control over, is this moment, and today is all you have to get through. If today is a shit day, it's okay. You're going to wake up tomorrow and you get another 24 hours. So these are lessons I have learned on this journey. Choosing this particular path of healing isn't easy. You get a lot of people telling you, well, I could never do that, or, oh, don't you think you're being silly? But I've got more people saying to me, I'm with you. I'm supporting you. It's your choice. You are the one who's deciding how you want to live the rest of your life. And those are people that build me up and make me feel good about myself. And they're all the people closest to me. My children, my friends, my mother, my brother, my sister-in-law. I can go on and on. These people I absolutely love and adore. My business partner, Nomfundo, the lady who does my housekeeping and has helped me through all my troubles, Abigail, every single one of them. They support me and my journey. And that's what you need, are people around you who are going to support you no matter what. So thank you again for listening to the end of this video. I hope you made it to the end. And if you found this video informative and helpful, please, 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 would you like it? It does increase the amount of people who will see the video. Would you also please just, if you haven't subscribed already, just hit the subscribe button. And then if you want to know when my next video is coming out and what it's about, click the notification bell and it will let you know. I am at the moment posting a video every Thursday, and my intention is to keep it up for as long as possible, and as long as I have got stuff to share and people want to hear and be helped by it. So thank you. Until next week, bye for now.